Right. Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff Pollard at solarpowertothepeople.org and Jeff Pollard 11 on Instagram. I'm with Coco Shin, and we're going to talk about various topics. But thank you for coming, Coco. Please, I want to get started on a little bit about you, sustainability, your channel. Tell me all of it, please.
Hi everybody. My name is Coco, and I have a YouTube channel. You can search for me, Coco Shin, on YouTube. And I make videos about vegan food, sustainability, and radical self-care. And I really started it because I really wanted to just give people value, I guess. And right now, I feel like we're in a major climate crisis, and the number one thing that we could all be working on is to reduce our impact so that we can lessen the effects of climate change and leave a better world for future generations and for all of the plants and animals that live on the planet. But I love to approach it in a really approachable and fun way. I think that sustainability is for everyone, and also vegan food is for everyone, whether or not you're vegan. So yeah, I like to hit it from that side, and then hit it from the other side of just taking care of yourself too. We take care of the planet. We build a community of people that care about sustainability, and then we take care of ourselves. So that's pretty much what my channel is all about. And then I also have Instagram and Instagram and TikTok, and
Yes.
I'm at Hello Coco Shin. So you can see a little bit of content on those platforms from me as well.
Okay, and once again, all that information will be in the bio of this YouTube channel, and we'll make sure to blast all that information. Now, I know you're coming from Germany. Is there anything you can tell us for anyone? A lot of people watching this they're from the U.S. And maybe from somewhere else. But can you tell us what it's like in Germany? What you're kind of doing there? Are you bringing anything from the US to Germany? Has Germany been influencing you in so many ways? I want to hear about that if you could.
Well, I am in Berlin specifically, which is known as a special place within Germany. And actually, it's a really cool place to be in terms of eco-friendly living. It's one of the most vegan-friendly cities in the entire world. I call it the vegan capital of Europe. I'd say the vegan capital of the world is Tel Aviv. They say there's maybe like 10% vegan population there. But anyway, in Berlin, it's really easy to find vegan options. And to me, especially if you're going for particularly unprocessed food, vegan food is some of the most eco-friendly food that you can eat because you're not getting the emissions from the meat production, the dairy production, the eggs, and then it's also really compassionate because we don't have the suffering of animals coming through that food. But it's also like Berlin makes it really easy for you to live eco-friendly. They have a really, really well established public transportation system. And then also shopping for food. Yes, some things come in plastic, and it also depends a little bit on which market you're going to, but there are a lot of things that come in jars. For example, like glass jars are a lot more common in German or Berlin supermarkets than in the US, where there's a lot of plastic. And they also label really clearly where a lot of the fruit comes from. So you know if it's being shipped from super far away, for example. And the really cool thing is that there's more and more brands that are packaging their products in like compostable plastic alternatives, which is super exciting to me. I think that compostable packaging alternatives are the future. We're going to be seeing them everywhere. And I wish that it was coming in or becoming mainstream in the US first, but I'm seeing it a lot here, or I'm seeing it a good amount. So for example, I have blueberries that come in like a container, like a film, but the film is a compostable plastic film, which is really cool.
Oh.
So yeah, those are just some of the ways that Yeah, it's just easier to live eco-friendly here.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. You know, I believe that that's the route I go. I always try to kind of give the people the idea of, can you imagine if we no longer needed like dump trucks going around or like having to put down a trash bin or paying for waste management, all because what we buy, then we can just kind of throw in our yard, or if you have an apartment, probably like a solid compost unit bin that can decompose everything. But like you know, it eliminates those kind of bills and like necessary, but like those the vehicle and all the carbon emissions, and just it takes care of a lot just by doing that simple thing right there. So no, I
Yeah.
makes me kind of jealous. Now I want to visit Germany, but I heard they were very big with solar too, Germany. But I don't know if you know anything about that. But
I don't know a whole lot about that because I'm not a homeowner.
yeah.
So, and I don't, maybe that's a misconception. Maybe you don't have to be a homeowner to get into solar, but yeah. And also I'm like kind of new here too. I've only been here since February, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to learning a lot more the more time I
Mhm.
spend here.
What are the cool things that you recommend to somebody who's just starting, or you know what is it that you can, what are the tips, the easy tips you can give somebody who's maybe a little scared to like change their entire life? They feel like they might have to change their entire life or something. So is there any kind of tidbits or little pieces of info you can give somebody to start out?
I mean, I would definitely say that it's okay to start slow, to just take it step by step, because it's hard to do a whole life overhaul. If you're ready to do that, cool. I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of people though, because our society is really designed for non-eco-friendly living, you know? Um, but start slow. One great step to take in the beginning, I would say, is to compost your scraps, your food scraps, because I think it's like 1/3 of landfill waste is compostable. 1/3. So that means for every 2 landfills there are in the US, let's say, there could be only, sorry, did I say for two? For every 3 landfills, there's two that could be there, and then one that could be just not exist, right?
Yeah.
But then it's really bad for another reason, because as you might know, when compostable material is sent to landfill, it decomposes improperly, and then it breaks down and creates methane gas, which is a extremely potent greenhouse gas and is definitely speeding up climate change. It's part of climate change. So if we can divert all of that compostable waste to composting centers, or just people who are composting in their backyard, then we can reduce the emissions, reduce the waste, and then also increase people's access or availability of compost, which is a really great fertilizer for gardens or for farms. And I think that's a really great place to start. So if you don't have a composting container at your house, one way that I did it before was just like keep a plastic bag in your freezer and freeze your scraps. And if you don't have industrial compost or compost collection in your town, there's an app, I don't know what it's called. I don't know if you've heard of it, but you can search for people who are collecting compost in your area. So some people have worm bins, some people have compost in their garden, like specifically for their gardens. Some farmers will collect it at farmers markets. You can go to like a lot of botanical gardens, or like community gardens will have a compost place where it's basically just like a big square trash can, if you could imagine, and then you can just dump your compost in it, and somebody comes and turns it and adds leaves and stuff, and then it's able to decompose properly and then become something that's really valuable. They call it black gold. So I'd say that's one way. Another way is it's like the easiest and cheapest thing, which is to just buy less, just consume less things. Don't go and one thing that I heard recently was that like a lot of people like to go shopping as entertainment. And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, if I had a whole free day a few years ago, I would have just gone shopping just to just like walk around because I really like to look at things and touch things and stuff. But if I bought something, I probably didn't really need it if I was really just going there for entertainment. And so I would say instead, it's probably better to like call a friend and catch up, like, you know, strengthen community that you already have, or maybe read a book or exercise, like do something else that doesn't really necessarily have to do with this whole consumerist culture, and do something that's going to be actually really good for you. But sometimes these things really feel like we're swimming upstream. So just know that it's going to feel like that, and that's okay. And if you take it step by step and try to incorporate these things slowly, like different things slowly, over the course of a period of time, and incorporate them into your daily activities, your daily routine, it's going to feel like second nature, and you're going to be able to do good without really thinking about it at all in no time.
No, I mean, I agree to kind of like add on those two things. With the composting, I always like to promote the idea that when you compost, if you have a compost bin and maybe you keep it outside or something like that, you don't get that whole like ants swarming your house vibe anymore, which is kind of interesting that I've noticed. That's one little tidbit I want to add to kind of promote the composting. I also am always a fan of minimalism. I've helped a few people move, and it's, you know, nobody likes to move, right? And the reason why I mention that is because you would say to yourself, like, well, the less stuff you have, the less stress you put on everyone. You don't have to pay for big trucks to move something. You
When
know,
you're moving.
you just while you're living in the space, I think it's just nice that you have like freed up walls and only a few books on a shelf and just things like that. Once you have a bunch of clutter, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie, the Labyrinth, the puppet one. There's that garbage lady, and she collected everything. And it's just kind of like, but it was so stressful. But
Yeah, even taking that to like another level, you know how when you clean your room, you just feel better, like more clean and whatever. But what if your room had even less stuff? You know, like what
yes.
if the whole place was just like clear and open all the time, and how good that would be for your mind.
Oh yeah, no, it's, I mean, there's correlations that I wish we could, you know, really relate to people, but like relate to people, but it's more just once you start it, you'll understand. It's just freeing up the space, frees up your mind. You actually feel a literal and metaphorical weight off your shoulders. For me, I'm only speaking for myself, but for anyone else who can concur and all that. Oh, but yeah, no, I really appreciate you about that. But I want people to, you know, really, you know, fall in love with you. Is there, you know, can you talk about a few things from your channel that people can expect? I know you listed them, but what were some fun things you've actually done? I would love to get a description of that.
Yeah, sure. Well, one thing that I really like to do is make recipe videos. I am not a professional cook or chef by any means. I only really started cooking for myself when I went vegan, and that's because I was living in a town that had barely any vegan options at all. And so I started cooking for myself, and I really enjoy it. So I hope that when you watch a cooking video from me, in my kitchen hanging out with me, and I'm just kind of like showing off my skills, and sometimes things don't turn out that great. Another thing that I like to talk about is reviewing sustainable products, because I think that consumerism might change a little bit, but it's not going anywhere. We're not going to really stop needing things, even if we become minimal people. So I have like reviewed quite a few sustainable products. Like one of my favorite things is woven activewear made from recycled plastic bottles, and they're like super versatile and comfortable, and I really love those. And so I have a couple of videos about that. I mean, I have videos, a lot of review videos about a bunch of stuff, but like I'm always looking for like sustainable packaging, and are these companies like really putting their money where their mouth is, you know,
Yes.
and also just kind of transitioning. I don't really see myself as even a zero waster. I'm just thinking, I see myself more as somebody who's transitioning to an eco-friendly lifestyle. So that's why I'm getting stuff. It's because like sometimes, you know, it's time to get rid of some things, or I run out of a product or something, and then I'll replace it with an eco-friendly option, and then I like to talk about those on my channel. So that's another thing that I do. Another thing is just kind of like hanging out through the day. Like what I eat in a day videos are really popular, I think, because it is that experience of just like hanging out, you know? So you'll see like what I have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe I'll sit down and talk about a couple things that are on my mind. That's another kind of video that I might make. And then I also have a few videos. I haven't made any recently, but a few videos about meditation, which is something that I do every single day. And honestly, I think has really changed my life for the better. But yeah, meditation also, and I might be talking about that a little bit more in the future too.
No, I mean, perfect. You always need to take a few minutes for yourself and like get yourself away from all the ambiances and craziness in the world. So I can always promote that too. Now, I always like to say, you know, it's just like for me, I'm like a just the facts person. I like to just spew it out, but I just want to tell everyone who is watching, like, please, you know, chat her up, like, ask her questions, you know, don't be afraid to like comment or anything like that, because, you know, she'll answer you, she'll chat you up.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. I
But
mean, I
no,
think community is super, super important. And I would really love for people to see my YouTube channel as a community where they can talk about things that they care about, or even ask questions. And there's no such thing as like as a stupid question, you know, and get support and, you know, talk to like-minded people. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
no, I see it, so I want to tell it. But yeah, no, thank you so much. Like I said, I always like to just feed people good people, and I like to just help them where I can. You gave us more than enough information. Uh, Once again, this is Coco Shin. We'll have all her handles and information down below, and please, you know, she's a great person, and check her out. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank you
much
so
for
much.
coming.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
All right. Yeah, have a good one.